Hey, welcome back to Evil's Comics. I'm Evil Mike, and I got a review for you today. From DC Comics, under their black label, we're going to be talking about Danger Street, issue number 4. It is written by Tom King, art and cover by Jorge Fornés, color by Dave Stewart, and letters by Clayton Cowles. Before we get started on this review, please like, comment, subscribe. Please hold all your comments to the end of the video, you know what I'm saying? No, I'm just playing. But please, like, comment, subscribe. It doesn't cost you a thing. It's all free. That's what I'm on YouTube, right? The interaction, talking about comics. Okay, so back to Danger Street. Now, if you are not caught up, there is so much going on. I mean, like 6 different parts of the story that are intertwining to tell this one master class of a story. I highly, shameless plug, recommend you to go back and watch any of the reviews, to catch up before you watch this one, or go buy the comic. I'm pretty sure they're still on the stands. I have not seen Danger Street number 1, but I have seen 2, 3, and now 4 on the stands. So just like all the other ones, we are with Dr. Fate's helmet. He is telling the story, our narrator. And at the present moment, we are with the boys, and they are researching Starman. They know that Starman killed their friend, and they're at the library researching, looking for him. At the library, they find out that he is a superhero, which I do want to bring up her. We don't get a name, I don't think, besides the librarian. But I think she's somebody important. Oh, we do. Mrs. Feeder or Feder. She pops up numerous times in this book, and she has previously, and I'm kind of thinking she's got to be a small, character from the earlier books that these are based on. Okay, so with that being said, but basically the boys do find out some information about Starman, that he's a superhero, and they kind of freak out, and they're trying to figure out how to kill him. The book jumps over to the Green Team. And we are with JP Houston. It's this kid right here. The Green Team is a bunch of rich kids that are all super billionaires or whatever, and that's kind of their schlick. So JP, he's out here with some investors and a security team, and he's talking about getting rid of the forest that he sees in front of him. It's basically what he doesn't even see a forest; he just sees money. He's talking about tearing down the forest and building stuff, or who knows. But while he is explaining all this, he turns around and finds out that all his investors and security crew have been massacred by none other than the Manhunter. Manhunter basically tells him to run. JP does try to, he's like, you don't know who I am? I got money, I can give you money. And he's like, oh, fuck. And he ends up finally taking off running. With ease, the Manhunter does catch up to him, but not before JP can call his real security team, which I'm surprised he's not here with him, but the assassin, that's, they're his high class, the Green Team's high class security. JP actually ends up knocking himself out, he keeps looking back, trying to see how close Manhunter is. He ends up whacking himself with the tree. He's down. Manhunter walks over, picks up the phone, puts his boot on JP's neck, basically snaps his neck, and tells tells the assassin that he's coming for him and the other kids, basically. But we do get this dope, murder scene from the Manhunter. Right after that, we get another dope scene. And man, I don't know, this hits on so many levels, but we get Orion, right? And we did find out from the last issue that Orion is being set forth a task by Apocalypse and some other guy that I'm drawing a blank at that I don't really know. But Orion is he's supposed to hold up the sky, which Atlas did before, which we saw Atlas die in the first issue. So Orion is on his way, and he's headed towards Starman and Warlord. In this passage right here, he's getting directions from the Mother Box. The Mother Box is actually giving him directions like a GPS, like our car GPS is, in 1,473 miles, take a left turn. I thought that was so fantastic, and they don't do it once. They kind of do it a couple times, where the mother box is actually literally giving him, GPS pinpoint, um, accurate directions. The book jumps over to one of our knights of the book, which is Lady Cop, and she is basically just loading guns and shooting guns, and she's here with a fellow officer, and they are talking about taking down Starman as well, getting revenge for the kids, but also doing her due diligence as a cop. This cop right here, I don't know if it's her partner, but he's just there on the range with her or whatever, but he mentions that, hey, we're going to be taking out, a superhero. Don't we need to call like Superman or something like that? We get a very vague recall to her origin story, which came from those earlier comics that these are based off of. And she mentions that she had called Superman at one point while she was hiding under her bed, and he never came. And that was at the same moment when she decided to become a cop. Kind of a low blow. The book jumps over to our ogre, which happens to be the creeper, and he is in an alleyway, like happened to come across this guy that's beating the crap out of this other guy, and he's claiming that this guy right here is an outsider because he's just a immigrant from another country. Jack Ryder, aka the Creeper, jumps in and saves the guy and ends up beating him to death. Well, he doesn't beat him to death, but pretty much a near death. Leaves him there, but then the ramification of what goes down, because he finds out that he was beating him because he was an outsider. Jack Ryder being a news correspondent and kind of spreading the tale of the outsiders because the green team is telling him to. But now, he's seeing literal ramifications in the real world, that people are hearing his report and they're just jumping to conclusions because they don't really have a lot of information to go off of. There's no pictures of the outsiders. They haven't announced any members of the outsiders. It's just this vague shadow, like, hey, we're against the outsiders. Well, who the hell are the outsiders? The book jumps back over to the Manhunter, one of the knights, and he is basically reporting back after killing one of the green team members, and his leader, and I'm drawing a blank at his name, I'm sorry, I'm bad with names, but his leader is basically telling him oh, you did a good job, and the whole time the Manhunter is trying to stay, I wouldn't say enroll, because that's what he is. He's a master assassin kind of guy. But we find out that this is his dad, and he's like, look, you can take the mask off and you can be yourself for a little bit. We do get this guy's name, and his name is Mark, the Manhunter, the guy that's in the mask. But it's just basically one of those father-son moments, man, you're doing a good job, I'm so proud of you, The book jumps back over to our friendly neighborhood librarian that we talked about earlier, and basically Warlord he's using the library trying to find the cemetery where they buried the boy that they happened to kill in the first issue, and I'm drawing a blank at his name. I think it's Non-Fat. But he does get the location of the, where the boy was buried. They need him because they're trying to use Dr. Fate's helmet to resurrect the boy. So they have this belief, they go get the body, they do the spell, it's going to bring him back to life, and Starman will be once again a hero because he was the one that ended up killing the boy. There's a moment between Warlord and Starman, and they're basically, they need tools for the job, and so they're headed to the hardware store. The book jumps back over to Jack Reacher and the Green Team, and I don't remember this guy's name, but he is the kind of TV mogul, and he's kind of the one that's in charge of Jack Ryder. But Jack Ryder's coming to him, and he's explaining the situation that happened in the alley, and now it's kind of famous. It's being televised on other channels that this, innocent guy tried to, take out one of the outsiders, and the Creeper showed up and beat that guy. So they're kind of spinning it where the Creeper is the bad guy now. After, Jack Ryder basically tells him this guy, tells his boss basically, that he doesn't want to run the outsider ad anymore. He's like, hey, you're doing a good job. You just need to read the bullet points. He was like, hey, can you do me a favor? Can you bend down so I can talk to you, eye to eye? And as soon as he does, I mean, the kid, like a pimp, billionaire, slaps the crap out of Jack Ryder and tells him to stop, tells him to stop basically, bitching and basically to follow the bullet points. There's this, scene right here, and he's basically like, if you don't go out there and do that news report, he was like, no one's going to find you. And he was like, we're just going to, we're going to leave, we're going to put a pin in that kind of thing. Like I mentioned before, the mother box is leading Orion where he needs to go in the GPS, kind of cool thing. There is a short scene here where one of the boys happens to walk past that said hardware store and looks over and sees somebody in a car. It happens to be the guy they're looking for right there, Starman, so he runs back to the two other boys to tell them, hey, I found that guy we're looking for. We get this scene right here that happens to be on the other side of the street at a movie theater, and it took me a second to realize who this was, but this is the leader of the Manhunter out of his costume. He's taking a break, and he's watching The Great Gatsby. As he is doing so, the assassin that works for the green team comes in, doesn't say anything, takes a bit of his popcorn, and we happen to see by the third panel that something pops in his throat. He did pick up a piece of popcorn, and I'm assuming that's what it was. It was like some kind of bomb in the popcorn or something like that. But he basically got murdered by eating a piece of popcorn, which is pretty dope if you ask me. Basically at that point the assassin gets up and walks out of the theater. The book jumps back over to Warlord and Starman, and they are digging up the body of the boy, and before they can finish digging him up, that's when Orion shows up, and that's kind of where they leave us off at that situation. The final page of the book is kind of a clambering of things, and two of the panels I wasn't really sure at. I had to kind of look at them a bunch. But we do get different moments of things that happen in this book. Like we saw J.P. Houston got murdered, and now we saw that leader. He got murdered. We get this panel right here. Jack Reacher, he's going on, and he is, reading the bullet points and doing like he's told. This panel right here is one of the panels that confused me, and it does look like the Manhunter was able to kill that rich billionaire TV mogul that's part of the Green Team. And the reason why it took me so long, because during that panel he was drinking this glass of water, and that looks like that's what poisoned him. We do get this scene right here with the Manhunter standing with the lion. I don't get that. This is another panel that took me a little bit to figure out, but we get Warlord in the grave while he's digging up the boy, and he's pulling out a gun. Like this panel, and basically Dr. Fate, telling us, hey, we got more coming, but that's basically it. That's where this issue leaves off. There was a lot that happened in this issue, and a lot of badass moments, honestly. The moment when Manhunter actually tracked down J.P. Houston and literally killed him the way he did was fantastic. This book is amazing. I have heard some people have called this book trash. Honestly, this might be my top read of the year so far. But hands down, every issue has been fantastic. The art is just stellar. The story, the interweaving of the multiple stories is fantastic. But hey, these are my opinions. Let me know your opinions. What are you digging? What are your thoughts on this series? What do you think's coming? We got Orion getting in the mix. I have no idea, honestly, because I don't know these characters well enough to, and I kind of like that. It's completely a mystery for me. But hey, that's it. I'm going to let y'all go. It's been a little long. I do like to stick a little bit more time with the books I like. But hey, that's what I got for you. I got more reviews coming. Be on the lookout for that. Please like, comment, subscribe. Alright, guys. Bye!